The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Media Mash, a roundtable of Cowboys insiders dropping wisdom and offering sizzling takes on the current state of your Dallas Cowboys. Now, your host, Newy Scruggs.
Media Mash. Let's ride.
You just not gonna let that go, are you? Not gonna let that go, huh?
On CBS over the weekend, James Brown was doing the scoreboards.
Oh no!
He said, Broncos Nation, let's ride to another L.
Oh no! Not James Brown.
I think you know it's wrong.
Not James Brown.
No respect when the indomitable James Brown,
Not
respected
JB
James
getting
Brown,
on it too,
is
man.
Big clown and
Oh.
Russell Wilson as well.
That ain't good.
Our Media Mash insiders today include Patrick Walker of DallasCowboys.com. You got Kevin Gray of 105.3 The Fan.
Sir.
And he is John Machota of The Athletic. All right, guys, the Colts are coming to town here. I really want my time back that I wasted on Monday Night Football.
Reclaim your time, huh? Reclaiming my time, huh?
Right. Yeah, that was bad. And so what does the NFL do? The NFL puts these guys on national primetime Monday. They're going to mess around here, put them back on national primetime Sunday night on NBC.
Uh-huh.
I mean, my goodness gracious. Everybody sit there and watch Jeff Saturday do his thing.
Hey, the Fighting Jeff Saturdays. It's funny because the NFL had a chance last week to flex this game out of Sunday Night Football, and they chose not to. They said, "Come on, man."
Why.
I wonder why.
Why on earth?
I mean, I know you a company man, Newy, so I know you okay with this. You know,
I
the
got
Sunday
about
night.
I got about 43 million reasons why they didn't.
Right. I mean, this company man, but at the same time, the company is killing it, and the company knows when in doubt, give them the Cowboys.
Yeah.
The only time the Cowboys have ever been flexed in the history of Sunday Night Football was it 2020 when the Cowboys were no good, and Jalen Smith was like, the owner ain't tripping, why y'all tripping? But no, and so when it first kind of circulated, like right after the firing of Frank Reich, I called somebody I knew in the company. I just said, any shot it gets flexed? And they said, no, because the Cowboys are good. Because
Bottom line.
And as we talked about on the Players Lounge here, Cowboys is going to carry the show. So it's going to get to a point in time where there's, Chirico and Chris Collins they're going to go to the vignettes. Look at Michael Parsons. He's got his man rating up. And then they're going to do someone Aiden Diggs for Christmas time and Trayvon. I mean, that's what you do.
The whole package.
No ability to cut away from that game.
All the packages.
Right. So you do my cleats, my call. I mean, they're going to do whatever. But they are going to stay on the Cowboys. They're going to do what Odell Beckham Jr. autopsy and all this. I mean, they're going to do everything, but they're not going to cut away from the Cowboys because it's that old adage back in the 70s, when in doubt, give them the Cowboys, because you know the ratings are going to be good. And, by the way, if you're a World Cup fan, the United States.
Let's go.
They defeat Iran 1-0. It's a technical term. You like that?
You nil.
1-0.
Like love in tennis.
1-0. So, yeah.
On to the knockout stage.
FIFA very happy. Very happy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, look. I don't know how refs work in soccer. Or how FIFA does their thing. But imagine they're saying, when in doubt, Americans gonna need that call.
Oh man,
we all make a little bit more money.
I don't know. I'm watching this and I'm looking at their refs like they got a lot more technology, and a lot more of that technology should probably be in some of the other sports in the United States. The way they call that offsides, man. I mean, that thing was detailed, and there was like no waste of time.
No, not at all.
It
was
like,
no,
it's offsides. They have
immediately
the
computer printout. You're just like, whoa. You're not messing around.
What you say is beautiful right there.
Instead, I got to watch Angel Hernandez just, kind of roll the dice on what's a ball and a strike,
And once again, that goes into the beauty of FIFA as an organization. This is what we're going to do. And everybody just got to go with it. But, if you want to do something like that in the NFL, well, there's an owners meeting, and here's guys go into the committee, and then does the committee come up with the recommendations, everybody say, and then, just like, there was a time when people were like, we don't want instant replay. This is the challenge of it, of you're saying, hey, here's technology, we can get this thing right. How much money could we save in time and going to reviews? But you're going to have owners and different general managers and coaches who
I just don't understand. I'll just go on one simple one with the NFL. I don't understand why every single owner in the league wouldn't want some type of technology so that the ball is spotted accurately at all times. First downs.
That sounds so much like right, John. Come on now.
At the goal line, like things like that. If they can get that offsides as quick as they did with that computer generated, and it was just by a shoulder he was offsides, I think you can spot the ball a little bit more correctly than they're doing.
You could absolutely find the technology to tell you what our eyes already knew, and that CeeDee Lamb's catch in the back of the end zone was a touchdown.
Crazy.
You're correct. You're correct. I'll say this, and speaking of CeeDee Lamb here, you hate when something like that happens because while you won the game, as you start to think about they're getting ready for the Pro Bowls and the kind of things you want to stack up in your these touchdowns help. Right. They help, and they're by the way, they're not easy to get. And when they take one away, or you're like Diggs, you had the pick, and next thing you know, Golson took that away, and it's like because what I think the league is 6, he's at 3, so that'd have been 4. You get yourself Matt Ryan this week, you got Houston next week. These the next couple of games for the Cowboys.
He got some chance to make it up. He got some chances to make it up a little bit.
This is just me. I just think these are what I call Pro Bowl games.
Which is funny because they don't do that no more in the NFL.
But you want that for your your own resume.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Jones.
Contract negotiations.
Here we go.
I had a chance to go participate in that dodgeball game, but you know what I mean.
All right, let's dive into
a little Colts action.
Like I said, I want my time back. Watching that
Reclaim
game.
my time.
I'll tell you what, I thought it was funny yesterday. We get the coordinators, and Dan Quinn, of course, is going to be asked about Matt Ryan. This is the guy that was his quarterback, and his answer was very similar to what he gave to us last year before they played the Falcons. And so I'm like, let me just go look back because I know the Cowboys won. Let me go look back and see how bad that game was. Now, keep in mind that Falcons game when Matt Ryan started. That is the week after that they lose 30-16 to the Broncos. So there's some concern there with the way the Cowboys are playing. 43-3. It wasn't even. What's Dan supposed to say?
Wasn't that the game where Dak decided to make a decision to go run the football in and got hit at the goal line, but then pushed his way in?
I believe so.
Anyway, and I was like, Dak, you don't need that touchdown. Like we're good today. Like you can go ahead and take that knee and not have to.
You sure? Because I watch these Bills games, particularly earlier in the year, and every announcer it's the greatest thing to see Josh Allen doing all that stuff.
Like, come on, man.
And all of a sudden, then he's not playing, and we'll see what happens.
Don't keep that energy.
In the playoffs, I totally get that.
Yeah, the playoffs. I don't need you lowering that shoulder to get that touchdown. I didn't need it that day.
It's always amazing who we choose to forgive and who we choose to condemn.
That's why I said people rarely keep the energy.
Especially when to bring it back to Matt Ryan. Obviously he's turned the ball over a ton. His turnovers are right on par with where Josh Allen's are. It's kind of funny when you look at it.
I'm going to go on record right now. I was one of those that thought, okay, this is going to work with Matt Ryan. I picked the
same. No, I'm right there with you. Yeah.
I thought this team would be good. Frank Reich has been fired. They're bad. 11-point dog coming to Jerry World here. While they did try to fight and ended up taking the lead against Pittsburgh for a minute, they lost the football game. And I just think this is a game, as when the players come back in the locker room, we talk to them, it's really going to be about, okay, having the urgency to knock a team out early that you were better than. Not letting them stick around. You saw it with the Giants game on Thursday. You let them get a little bit of hope.
Miscues, yep.
Yes, those doggone pre-snap penalties, 13 penalties. There has to, at some point in time, if they want to go be the team they want to be, you got to go take a team like this and you go, boom, knock them out of the
I feel like the biggest issues over the last 3 years, so the time Mike McCarthy's been head coach, when there's been losses, I feel like you can almost point to one or the other. It's either you let that team run all over you, or it's the penalties. And they just don't seem to go, and they show up every once in a while. So this is one of those games where, and several where the Cowboys are in their schedule, they're playing running backs every week that if you just let up a little bit, you just start missing some tackles, then all of a sudden you're going to allow this team to stay in the game. Not saying that they're going to win. 13 penalties against the Giants. That Giants team was at 100% healthy, and maybe it's even more of a game. But you can do 13 penalties against them. You might be able to get away with 13 penalties on Sunday night, but ultimately against the better teams of the league, the ones that you're going to see in January.
Yeah. The 49ers, the Eagles, that's not going to cut it if you're in the playoffs and you're trying to win football games. So Mike McCarthy, you guys were there. Mike McCarthy addressed that. It's a problem, and I'm just still surprised. Here we are. addressing the same thing.
Yep.
I mean, all offseason, we beat them up about it. He got beat up over it at training camp here, and I don't know. Maybe now it's a Thanksgiving Day tradition that they come out here with 13 plus
penalties.
I mean, but something has to stop, because I think you guys hit it on the head here, Kevin. You keep fooling around, you're going to find out.
You're going to find out. And I love the conversation that Patrick and Isaiah and Kyle were having yesterday about cleaning it up, right? Yep. When you're trying to view this team, we're not viewing this team in the context of, you can go beat the Eagles or you can go beat the Texans or the Colts. We're trying to view this team in the context of, can you beat San Francisco? Yep. Can you beat Tampa Bay? Can you beat the teams that we envision that you're going to see in the playoffs? And Sunday's game is a great cleanup opportunity game to play mistake-free football and reestablish yourself, that you can have the mental discipline, that you can have confidence about going up against some of the better teams that you'll see, because we have to start viewing our conversations now about what this looks like for them going into the playoffs versus just what they do against the Texans and everybody else for the rest of the regular season.
Absolutely true. And it's great that we're having this conversation right now, because I was upstairs doing my deep dive into research for the penalties this season, because, segue and shameless plug, this is what this week's Science Lab column is going to be about. And it's really diving deep into the trends that the Cowboys have as far as penalties go. But I'll throw out there a glaring stat in that the Cowboys, in their 3 losses, they have no fewer than 9 penalties, right? But when they get down to 8 and below, and this is crazy because even 8 penalties a game is a lot, but that tells you that they can overcome it with defense, and now the offense is starting to gel. But if you get up there 9, 10, 11 penalties or more, the Cowboys likely are going to lose the game. Now, to John's point, you could probably get away, or you got away with 13 against the Giants, and you can get away with 10 against the Commanders maybe. But are you going to get away with a win if you have 13 against Philadelphia in the postseason? I venture that's a no. 49ers, no. Vikings in the postseason, 13, no. If you had dropped 13 penalties at US Bank Stadium a couple weeks ago, that's a loss. I believe that you lose that game. So, and now don't even talk about the AFC teams, the Tennessees and the
can extend drives against Kansas City,
and the
Buffalo.
Of the world. If you go in there, or they come here, whatever the case may be, 10, 11 plus penalties, that's an L. Clean it up. The
Cowboys have a 3-game AFC South Invitational.
This is after the NFC North Invitational they just went through.
So you now got the Colts at home. Then you get the Houston Texans, who were inching closer and closer to getting the number 1 pick at 9-1-1. You've got them, and then that's followed up by a road trip down to Jacksonville, Florida, Southern Georgia, to face the Jaguars.
We don't claim
so in 2014,
we don't claim it like that.
So in 2014, I think the Seahawks led the entire NFL in penalties, and they still went on to win Super Bowl. But if you look at the teams that the Cowboys are in this with at the top in terms of penalties, because you mentioned 8 almost seems, they're averaging about 7.5 that are being called per game. So the teams that are up there with them, Denver has the most, and then it's Dallas, Arizona, New Orleans, Las Vegas, and then the Giants and Seattle and Carolina. Not exactly like the teams.
Do any of those teams other than the Cowboys have a winning record?
No.
No, I want to say
that.
Yeah,
the other one that I liked, and you'll probably know this because you said you're writing about it, but who? Okay, so the top 2 guys in most penalties on the Cowboys. Tyler Smith is probably obvious.
Yeah.
Who do you think is second? Like with the most penalties against him?
Anthony Brown?
Nope.
I'm gonna go Dorrance Armstrong.
Nope.
What is it? Defense?
No,
Schultz?
No, it's Terrence Steele.
It's Terrence Steele.
But the reason I'm bringing this up is because now guess who is third with 5 penalties?
CeeDee Lamb.
Kelvin Joseph. I don't even feel like I remember all those. Now they're special teams, right?
Wow.
And I think he has 1 or 2. Yeah, but when I was looking that up, I was like, I thought for sure again, Anthony Brown, CeeDee Lamb, like exactly. And I was like, Kelvin Joseph.
Yeah.
It stunned me. I guess I don't know, kind of out of mind.
And that's a lot for special teams penalties.
Yeah. And he's a good special teams player.
Yeah, he's been good on special teams.
He is. And to his credit, like the block in the back, you go back and watch that film, it's like it's not in the back.
You knew what you was doing.
I did.
You knew exactly what you was doing.
I just don't want to talk
about
it.
These are courtesy of NFLpenalties.com. So,
but you know what? That tells you, look at the company they're in when it comes to that stat, and that tells you just how good the Cowboys can be if they eliminate. And for me, and I'll say it like I said on Talking Cowboys, I'm not even asking you to completely eliminate penalties because I feel like that's too big of an ask based on recent history. Like, okay, I get it.
Cut down on it.
You're like,
I
could you
get
cut it in half?
Just meet me in the middle.
Like, meet me in the middle,
If you
yeah.
meet me at around 3 or 4 game, and let's assume one, because you're going to get maybe 1 or 2 that are going to be questionable, controversial, subjective. Fine. That's why you can't get to 0. So 1 or 2 a game in that aspect, and then 2 additional ones that are actual penalties. That's 4. If the Cowboys averaged 3 to 4 penalties a game, then we're not having this conversation about penalties anymore. And they probably are a 10-1 team as we have this conversation. Because the only game that I harken back to that the penalties did not have a grievous impact on was Week 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when the offense just basically wet the bed. And that's why they lost that game. The other games, the other 2 losses, flip those into potential wins if they cut those down from 9.
Especially the pre-snap stuff.
Right.
That's the stuff that's inexcusable.
At
Four
home.
false starts
home.
at home.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, you got the home crowd. You telling them to be quiet. Like, just relax. Stay on the line and just
Things
relax.
are going bad. They're going bad. They called Zach Martin for a hold. It wasn't.
I knew it was
but-
strange hours
but
when
they
that
called
happened.
It wasn't. But they called it.
But everything you just said about the penalties, that's exactly how I feel about the penalties and the run defense.
Yeah.
No one's asking you to be even a top 10 run defense.
Yeah.
Just get it somewhere in the middle of the pack.
Just meet me at an average.
Honestly,
Meet me at average.
do it at a level that should be expected of you with the talent that you have on your defense.
Yeah.
It's not asking too much to be sure tackled, assignment sound and things like that.
Stand still for 2 seconds
They're
before
capable of doing it. It's not asking them
Don't
too much.
over-pursue.
Exactly.
And like as an example, 2020 when the run defense was awful, you kind of looked at the personnel and you're like, I don't know if this is they got the guys here. They have the guys here to be at least middle of the pack run defense.
Now you guys know how James Harden's coaches feel about defense. Hey James, can you just get in the middle? Get in the way.
Just stand in the way.
Like, just stand there. Like, you can just stand
Just a
there.
little
Just move your left foot.
Stand in the way.
All right, when we come back here, a free agent signing that the Cowboys made that I'm going to gloat about because a whole lot of other people were criticizing the move. The Cowboys are right. Let's dive into that next. Patrick Walker, Kevin Gray, John Machota, I'm Newey Scruggs. This is the Media Mash on DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
What do you call a group of grown men and women with their faces painted silver and blue who get together every week to share a 3-hour-long ritual of jumping, singing, and toasting Miller Lite and 10-gallon hats while yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" You call it Miller Time in Dallas. Here's to the Cowboys. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
When you build, you start with the foundation. And home ownership is a foundation of a stable future. The Bank of America Community Home Ownership Commitment has helped over 34,000 people lay the groundwork so far, with up to $10,000 towards your down payment or 3% of the purchase price, whichever is less. The satisfaction of owning your own place can become a reality. Visit bankofamerica.com/homeowner to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. Equal Housing Lender. Credit and collateral is subject to approval. Restrictions apply. This is not a commitment to lend.
The season is finally here. For months, we've been gearing up to win. Now it's time for the team that performs on any field. United Ag and Turf. With John Deere zero turns for mowing, compact tractors for loading, mini excavators for digging, Gator utility vehicles for hauling, implements for grading, hay tools for baling. United Ag and Turf. For winning. The official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com for more.
Back to Media Mash.
Newey Scruggs, along with John Machota, Kevin Gray,
Yes, sir.
Patrick Walker. We have breaking news. The Cowboys' defensive line is now getting thinner. Patrick Walker, tell them.
Working to confirm, but it looks as if the Cowboys have opted to waive defensive end Tarell Basham from the team.
So, James Washington really is about to come back
So we think.
at the wide receiver spot. That's what Jerry said on his radio show.
Well, Jerry says a lot of things on his radio show.
This is true. This is true.
I have concerns about that situation. Not even physically. I wonder what the the holdup is on James Washington at this point, because when I spoke to James 3 or so weeks ago, had a good talk with him in the locker room, he said, physically, I'm 100%. I'm back out there. I'm making the cuts. He said the only thing I need to overcome now is the mental aspect of it, because it's the first major injury that he's had in his entire football career. So mentally, he's working to come back from that. That was roughly a month ago. I have to check the dates, but let's say that was roughly a month ago. And then you go back to Mike McCarthy a couple weeks or so ago. He said more or less it was likely that James Washington's 21-day window would be activated there soon, probably at the time he said next week. Next week came, and then it was scheduling with the 3 games in the 12-day window. McCarthy said, well, because of the scheduling and the way we're going to do practice, not a great time to drop him back into this. Okay, we're now on the other side of this mini-bye. And granted, we still have until tomorrow to see if they're actually going to or not going to activate James Washington. But if they don't, what's going on there? What's going on there?
I know he was one of the names right when they let go of Tristan Hill. He was in one of those right around the trade deadline that it was, honestly, it surprised me. I thought it was going to be Basham and not Tristan Hill. Yeah. And so I was like, well, maybe they just feel they need more depth at that defensive end position, and they don't feel that way now, and there's other roster moves that need to be made. So
I would call him the OBJ contingency plan. If something doesn't work out with Odell Beckham Jr., you can easily slide Washington in there. And if he's physically ready to go and you can buy the time to activate his window, you can wait to see what happens with Odell by the time he's reportedly scheduled to visit, on Monday. And if that doesn't happen, well, guess what? James Washington, come on down. You can go ahead and get your uniform ready and get ready to play, for the rest of the year. So I think there's some OBJ contingency plan maybe happening there for Washington.
Oh, you got a free roster spot. So,
if you're Jalen Tolbert, do you watch this?
You should,
and just know that I'm going to lose a.
Well, just from the sake of being a competitor, you have to see this and feel a way about it, but hopefully it's a way in that he can channel it constructively and view it as, hey, you know what, I really need to, step it up. I need to do whatever I need to do. Not to say that he hasn't stepped it up, but maybe there's obviously more that needs to be done in order for him to win over the coaching staff to get his reps on the field offensively. Yeah, if I'm him, I'm looking at this and saying, okay, all right, this is where we are. All right, let me show you something. Watch this. He should go full Usher. Watch this.
I'm not expecting that to happen. So I'm looking more towards next year that, he needs to be a guy in the offseason that he's at every single thing. And again, not to say, like Patrick said, not to say that he's not doing this stuff or not to say that isn't going on, but clearly they wouldn't, if they felt like he was trending in the right direction, I don't think they'd be that concerned about bringing in Odell Beckham Jr., but they need another impact receiver, and he clearly isn't doing that.
The difference maker here, I think he should have a conversation with Terrence Steele, because I think a lot of people forget he had a really rough rookie year, and he got thrown in there, and they talked so much about how he put in the work, he improved his body, he used the offseason to become a better football player, and you look at him right now, this is a man who's about to get, if it's not this offseason, it's going to be the next offseason, he's going to get a massive payday in the National Football League. And that's just because he put in the work, but that is what Tolbert needs to do.
Will there be room for him next year? If you bring Odell Beckham Jr. here on a long-term deal,
yes,
you got
to make sure that he is.
There will be.
Okay.
They won't move away from a third-round pick.
Too soon.
Okay.
Too soon to move
Too
away.
soon and too affordable.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I only ask because there's a lot, because you got 4 spots. If you're going to assume Noah Brown is back here, you got CD, Odell, Michael, Noah Brown. That's 4 wide receivers already. Let's say you keep Washington too, that you already got 5.
I don't know. I don't think Noah Brown's under contract yet.
He's free agent.
He's free agent.
So if you can't, I could see the lean, but I wouldn't assume.
Okay.
Because the team itself, and I know this is to a lesser but still similar degree, they assumed that Wilson would stick around.
Right.
And he got a bigger offer in Miami, and the rest is history. So you would like to assume that Noah Brown is going to stick around and get a more team-friendly deal than what Cedric was, what his market demanded. But free agency, you just can't assume.
Yeah.
Hey, Cedric Wilson could be back, because
it's not working out for him right now in Miami.
No, it's not working out.
Bring him home.
Right now. It's really not. Bring him home. Depending on how things go with this Odell Beckham Jr., if they sign, let's just say sign a 1-year deal versus a multi-year contract, if I'm Jerry and Steve and Will McClay, I would pick up the phone and call the Dolphins about Cedric Wilson because they just don't have a use for him down there. And I'd take the contract. It's a good football player. Knows your offense. Your quarterback likes him. To me, that's the kind of money you spend. That's it's not a crazy contract. He fits in what you do. I would do, especially knowing I have to pay CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
And you've already given Michael Gallup a contract. If you bring back Cedric Wilson here,
that'd be a tough pill to swallow to give up compensation for a guy that was just in your building last year.
But they wanted,
but you would have to do it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you would in that case. I mean, you got to do it.
That one stung. That one stung the front office.
Yeah,
they really wanted Cedric to stick around.
Right, but to get Cedric Wilson, I mean, considering the fact that Miami doesn't want him, and they gave him a nice deal, it's not like you're going to have to go sit up here and part with a significant pick.
Yeah,
this is going to be a third.
Well, this team loves their picks. They love their picks.
Third-day pick, but all right. Is your third-day pick? Maybe you had to give up a 6. If you give up a 6 to get back a guy who knows your offense and the quarterback is very comfortable with, and he already knows and fits in your receiver room, what's that worth to you?
Before the trade deadline, that is exactly what I tweeted. I said, send a 6th. You could even argue it to try to be conditional. I don't care. Send the 6th to Miami and get Ced home. That's where I am with it.
You know what? Wish they'd listen to you instead of being on the phone trying to do this Brandon Cooks deal. Because
there's only one phone.
Hey, anyway,
and it's rotary.
We can't talk about. It's rotary. We can't. I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry. I can't talk about that. I didn't ever talk about that.
Player X.
I didn't talk about that.
Player X.
I didn't talk about that. Let's take a break.
Edit.
Exactly. Let's take a break. Yeah, let Chris just edit all that out. I'm sorry. I can't do that. Good for USA.
Hey,
USA.
Team USA on to the knockout stages.
When we come back, Jerry Jones on Odell Beckham Jr. What is the want level amongst the panel for Odell Beckham Jr.? Do you want OBJ the way Jerry? The way Mike McCarthy,
the way John does,
the way Dak Prescott, and Micah Parsons, and CeeDee Lamb. I haven't heard Noah Brown come out and say anything about it, but we'll dive into that next right here.
Everybody.
The season is finally here. For months, we've been gearing up to win. Now it's time for the team that performs on any field, United Ag and Turf. With John Deere Zero Turns for mowing, compact tractors for loading, mini excavators for digging, Gator utility vehicles for hauling, implements for grading, hay tools for baling. United Ag and Turf, for winning. The official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com for more.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
This sweet! Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Little Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is. It's a non-fungible token.
Everyone's done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
When you build, you start with the foundation. And home ownership is a foundation of a stable future. The Bank of America Community Homeownership Commitment has helped over 34,000 people lay the groundwork so far, with up to $10,000 towards your down payment or 3% of the purchase price, whichever is less. The satisfaction of owning your own place can become a reality. Visit bankofamerica.com/homeowner to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. Equal Housing Lender. Credit and collateral is subject to approval. Restrictions apply. This is not a commitment to lend.
Back to Media Mash.
Media Mash. Right here on DallasCowboys.com radio, John Machota. We've got Kevin Gray, we've got Patrick Walker. All right, Odell Beckham Jr., Jerry Jones wants him. He doesn't care about something that happened on an airplane in Miami in which he was
let that man
put
sleep,
on
man. Let that man sleep.
So, I'll start with you, Kevin Gray, Mr. 105.3 The Fan. Odell Beckham Jr., do you want him here?
Of course, I would love to see Odell Beckham Jr. here. I mean, the thing I love about Odell Beckham is that he's going to be a guy that's going to go and attack the football. And there's plays to be made with him within this offense because I feel like OBJ can be a guy that not only you have to account for, but everyone else can eat off of a guy like Odell Beckham Jr. CeeDee Lamb's going to get better because of him. Gallup's going to get better because of him. And for all the things that people like to say about Odell Beckham Jr., he's a good teammate. He's not like he's been a cancer in the locker room anywhere that he's been. He's a good teammate.
Baker Mayfield?
You believe Baker Mayfield, the things that come out of his?
Baker Mayfield's wife. I saw on Twitter.
Like I said, Odell Beckham Jr. has been a good teammate. You've never heard a bad word from people that, we give a damn about that actually.
Oh, number one pick don't count now. Former quarterback don't count.
Not for me.
Depends on who the quarterback is.
Right.
That's his point.
But more than anything, I think he helps this team, and the Cowboys give him the best chance to win a championship. As long as Jerry doesn't get in the room and start selling them on the idea, hey, if you're a Cowboy, you get to do this and do that. No, sell Odell Beckham on the idea that this is the best fit for him for his football career, and everything else will become after that.
Yeah,
as a result.
Cowboy, each team, if we're because there's always going to be a dark horse, but each team that we're aware of, Buffalo, New York, and Dallas, they each have their pros, they have their cons, right? The more likely statistically to go on and win the Super Bowl between the three is Buffalo. However, the Cowboys are proving that they're right up there with these teams, correct the penalties, miscues, and there you go. So this team, Odell wants to be on a team that has Super Bowl capability. This is it offensively. Super Bowl capability defensively. This is it. Hell, this is a Super Bowl caliber special teams unit as well.
Why do we use the word Super Bowl around here?
Caliber.
Why?
Hashtag caliber.
Well, what are we supposed to view? Caliber. How are we supposed to talk about this team?
Okay, I'll go with
contenders.
You're scared of
to
those
do
words
what?
together, huh? Those words together scare you?
Words,
PTSD?
Yeah, certain words just trigger him. Like he's starting to shut down.
Like Kelvin Joseph.
How old were you in 1996?
1996.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, Kevin.
You're boy in rare form
14.
today.
14.
Yeah.
Okay, 14 years. How old were you in 96?
How old am I? 35. That would have made me.
It was in junior high.
That would have made me
absolutely.
96. That would have made me 10.
10.
A lot of Cowboys starter.
Elementary school.
I was 16. I was about to go into high school.
Junior high school. So why are we talking about something that happened when you guys was in junior high and elementary school? Well, I don't talk about those things because what George Bush say. Fool me once. Shame on you. Fool me twice. Can't get fooled again. Okay. You know how many times one time we did a whole TV special. It was after when Romo and them went down to Cabo and they ended up losing as the number one seed.
Hey.
So we did the whole TV special the next year. We called it Tampa Bay or Bust. We called it Tampa Bay or Bust.
You don't think this team's better than that? You don't think this is the best team they've had since '96?
This team
you could probably argue 2011.
What was better?
14?
14 was monstrous.
No
07?
way. There's no way.
07?
I will take this team over 14 all day long.
You would?
Yeah,
Really?
and it's all because of that defense. I'm just counting on Mincy and Rolando McClain to play like Superman. That's the defense we're going to do. Remember, they didn't even have Sean Lee that year.
That's fair.
That defense was...
Personnel-wise, you're right.
What year is
that offensive 14
they have two things. They have
12.
one thing in common.
12 years.
Best team that I've covered.
They
So
have
that's
something in
all
common.
of those.
Aaron Rodgers.
14 and 16 were the other better years. This team is better than those
monsters
teams.
too.
I also have
Because of Micah Parsons.
I'm
that's
so
why.
old. I have the benefit. I have covered a Cowboys Super Bowl team. Jimmy's last one. Okay, I've covered the team here today. So I don't.
So let's say
What was that
contender.
like? What was that like?
Contenders. We're gonna find out this season.
Oh my God!
We're gonna find out.
Tell us about how
Please
it was
tell us.
then.
Yeah, how it was. How was it back
We
then?
got some cocoa guys. Pull up the cocoa. Pull
Little
up some cocoa
kumbaya,
guys.
Sign Odell. Let's find out.
Hey,
Yes,
how about
yes.
that?
But yeah, and another thing the Cowboys have going for them, man. What's the temperature outside today? 77 degrees. 2 days from December 1st. Odell, if you're watching, if you're listening, that knee is going to feel.
Ain't no thunder snow here in Texas.
That knee is going to feel a whole lot better
listening to
in
you
North
guys.
Texas in a dome. Right?
Listening to you guys makes
He
it
might
sound
argue
like,
about the surface in that
like
dome.
Odell is about to be Deion Sanders and Charles
You see
Haley
Met-
like
you see
impact.
MetLife
here.
It's
changing the
funny you
surface.
say that, Newey. Did they talk about Deion the way that the Cowboys are talking about Odell Beckham Jr. back then? Is Jerry talking about Odell the way that he talked about Deion?
Nobody's
back
talking
then?
about anybody the way that the Cowboys are talking about Odell Beckham.
That's exactly.
Deion was healthy when he got here. Healthy. Coming off a Super Bowl championship.
I think he means as far as like stumping the trail.
Yeah.
I think you guys are being led by Jerry. the greatest professional sports salesman I've seen.
I can't believe you
Bill
think
Fett.
I can't believe you think of how much I've listened to him on the radio for the last 12 years. If you think that I go off that, not what I see with my eyes, not what number 11's doing, but no, it's what Jerry says on twice a week on 105.3 and after the game.
But you guys
that's not it.
We're
not basing this on 8-3 that could be 10-1 if you reduce penalties.
No. My favorite is this.
None of that.
My favorite is this. My favorite one is this. How about the fact that everybody just buckle up? I'm about to say something real wild here. That they're actually going to have back-to-back double-digit win seasons for this first time since 1996. When's the last time that they've ever done anything like that? Again, it goes back. Show me number 11 on those teams, and I'll say that they were on this level. But 11 is a game changer for me. If 11 plays the way that he does and he's motivated, he is the game changer.
So they don't need Odell.
Well, they need that because you need to take it to the next level.
Additive.
You can always get better. You can always get better.
See there?
There's always injuries, too. That's the thing. We're talking about these wide receivers. You're talking about Jalen Tolbert, guys like that. What if CD's to go down? What if Gallup's to go down? Like, then all of a sudden, you're
like Robert Woods went down for Los Angeles last year.
And when you asked it about like everybody how you feel about Odell, my biggest thing that I was going to say was because of the way he looked. If I didn't see what he did last year for the Rams, I wouldn't be nearly like go get him. But the way he stepped in immediately, I was like, and I know he's coming off the injury, so you never know. And believe me, I don't have the medicals, and I don't know that the Cowboys do either. You can slide those medicals over to me right now with a doctor, and I can change my mind like that.
Right.
But in our jobs, we don't necessarily know all those little details and things like that. But I was able to see with my eyes what he did for the Rams. Rams don't win the Super Bowl.
He's on his way to Super Bowl MVP.
They don't win it without him.
Chris, do I need another break?
No,
I don't.
My only thing is
there's Kool-Aid drive that's going on.
Or haterade. I mean, just because you're PTSD, I don't know why that affects this team.
I am a skeptic. And rightfully so.
And you've got 26 years of evidence to back you up.
Absolutely.
To quote Bill Parcells,
and Dave Campos still coaching this team, and Tony Romo's still on this team, and Des Bryant's still on this team, and DeMarcus Ware's still on this. Oh, wait, none of those people are on this team. Why does it matter?
Facts.
Why does it matter what happened then?
Facts.
Seriously.
History only matters if you keep staring back at it.
If I listen to you guys, I need to go and book me a room in Arizona right now.
So what you waiting on?
No.
So what you waiting on?
I could be in Arizona in January with TCU and in February.
See, we've done this before, and what you do. No, let me tell you, this is what he does because he's done this before. It's you say Super Bowl contender. He thinks he's hearing somehow different earphones than us. Super Bowl lock. Of course no one's a lock. There's not one team that's a lock, so why would you be booking flights? But to say that they're not in the conversation is ridiculous.
Be where your feet are, Nui.
The team that keeps getting put out the divisional round, that's all. Team that keeps getting put out the
and it might happen again, and then we'll address that when it happens.
Until slash unless it happens, it's nothing to talk about until slash unless it happens.
Go sign Odell.
Exactly. There you go, Nui. There you go.
And I would. Is it up to me? Where do I sign?
Exactly.
Too late for him. Who else you got?
That's all right. Go get the best one available. That's the best one available right now.
I wasn't in on Sue after we got the team got Hankins. I was not in on Sue, but I am in on OBJ.
The parity of this league screams that the Cowboys are a Super Bowl contender because the way that you would feel about the Cowboys versus the Chiefs versus the Bills versus the Eagles, I can look at the Eagles right now. I can tell you that they're not a Super Bowl contender based on how I feel about Jalen Hurts. See, but we're doing the same with the Cowboys, right? Do you trust Jalen Hurts? Because I don't necessarily trust him yet. See, exactly. That's the only reason why.
Oh, so
completely
if Odell was
completely
objective.
You see how we got it drilled down there? You see how we drilled down there?
He ain't got that dog in him, so you know.
Okay.
But going back,
I'm worried about his coach. I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about his.
But going back to what you said, though, you don't believe in Hurts?
I'm not.
I think he's for real, man. I do.
He's been.
He has to be in the right team. And he has to have the right things. But it looks like he has all the right stuff.
Who do we also say that about?
Dak Prescott.
Exactly.
Hashtag keep that energy.
So that's what I'm saying. We got to keep the same energy. I'm not sold on Jalen, but so far so good.
Right there. And I've been one that I've gotten hammered for saying it. I said it weeks ago, and I'm saying it now, and I'll say it again until further notice. The Eagles can be had, and Hurts is a good quarterback, a really good quarterback, and right now he's one of the better at the position in the league.
My problem.
However,
I don't believe in their coach.
If you and I'm of the mindset, I saw him only do it once, which means if you did it once, you can do it again. But more often than not, I'm of the mindset when it comes to Jalen Hurts, if you can delete this rushing attack, look at how the Packers just basically opened up everything and said, hey, you can have this 30-yard. He had 100 rushing yards in the first quarter, right? if you delete that, if you're able to successfully delete that part of his game, and the Cowboys have the defensive personnel to do it, just stay disciplined, play your gaps, and play your style of football, force him to throw 40 times. I see you, Devontae Smith. I see you, A.J. Brown, but A.J. Brown will fumble that ball. Devontae Smith might drop it.
And I'll take my chances with Trayvon and A.J. Brown, too.
Facts.
Yeah, I'll take my chances there.
Facts.
Okay, I think Eagles are going to be real tough.
All right, guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree.
Christmas Eve is going to be an electric game.
I mean, I think that they'll.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that they'll win on Christmas Eve. I'm talking about if you have to play them again, probably going to be up in Philly, probably in January. That ain't going to be easy to beat them up there.
But it can be had.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, any of these teams can be had.
The Cowboys, the version of the Cowboys that went into Minnesota.
They can beat anybody.
Can beat anybody.
Yeah. All right, so
anybody.
Two things here. You guys are on a positive tip. I'll just let you guys keep going here. What number is Odell Beckham Jr. wearing, and what game does Tyron Smith come back at left tackle?
Well, we know he won't be wearing 3.
Correct.
Because Anthony Brown, and you can't switch numbers midseason.
Correct.
So
Odell could pay that money, handle that business.
No, he can't do it.
It's an NFL policy.
Oh, they don't let you do that anymore?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
If that was the case, Jerry would just go to whoever's locker and say, "Yeah, this isn't your number anymore." Give it to him.
Yeah, so what number? What number?
Don't do that. 88.
He can't wear 13. Can't wear 88.
Man.
What's he wearing?
I think the only thing that's available are like 16, 80, 81, something like that.
Something like that.
Is 82 available?
It's not happening, bro.
I can't see him
not on your
Isn't
life.
Simi 81?
Simi is 81.
Okay, yeah. So
it's not
16,
no way.
80.
16.
The team doesn't retire.
I can't
numbers,
remember.
But there's certain
Who's
numbers you'll
number
never
12?
see again.
Who's number 12?
82 is
Man, what are we doing?
12 is not available. So okay,
all right.
And 14 is
That's true.
Jabril.
Okay, well you guys
Well,
work.
14 is serving double duty right now
Well,
because
you
it's Jabril
guys
and
work
Callaway.
on that. Work on that for me. Work on that for me. And what game is Tyron Smith returned to his left tackle position for the Cowboys?
Oh, boy.
I think he'll return to practice next week, but that doesn't mean that he'll return to games right away. So I would give him another week after that, maybe.
Jacksonville.
So that'd be
I
the
was going to say,
Jacksonville
give
game?
me Jacksonville so that he
wanna
can
be
ramp
back for
up
the Eagles,
and be
yeah.
ready for the Eagles. Don't throw him in to ramp back up against the Eagles.
Right.
You need him as close to prime form as possible for Christmas Eve. So put him on the field for Jacksonville.
All right. And what game is Odell Beckham Jr. going to suit up his first game for? You guys.
If they sign Odell,
Hope Train.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it all depends.
They're meeting
on
Monday.
At this
That
rate,
Thursday
it'll be
night
the
against the
divisional
Titans?
game. At this pace, it'll be divisional.
Amazon Prime Video, Thursday night against the Titans.
Bring him out there against the Eagles, see what happens.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh, boy.
Sign him before Jacksonville. Don't play.
I'm telling you, man, I can do this Jerry Jones stuff too. I just need the money. If somebody give me the money,
debuting against the Eagles, what that number is going to be?
Yeah.
What that?
Are you going to give him a multi-year deal like he
50 mil.
wants?
50 mil.
Multi-year deal? Yes. Odell Beckham.
Yeah,
Jr.?
absolutely.
Yeah.
You get multi? Yes.
Yeah.
It's time to write the check. Yes.
I thought it was very interesting.
You
I thought the most interesting thing from Jerry this morning was how he talked about how he needs something. He has to be able to contribute this year.
Yeah.
So that's going to be what's very interesting. Because hey, there's a billion reports about Odell Beckham, where he is, and everything like that. And when I asked Jerry after the game, do you know if he can play this year? And he said, well, no, that's what we have to find out. And then for him today to repeatedly say that he has to be, it won't be just about next year. He's going to have to contribute this year.
Right. Yeah.
So if he feels that he can contribute this year, then yeah, I could see it being a deal that goes into next year that has. I don't think Odell will sign it if it doesn't. But it sounds like from Jerry's perspective, if they don't think he can play this year, then they're not going to sign him.
It's a team that has kind of lately in recent seasons had kind of a proclivity to lean towards 2-year deals anyway because it helps with the salary cap.
Yeah.
So I could see a 2-year deal, and then if things don't go well from the immediate outset, offseason, you move on, you eat a little bit of dead money, or you could do a 3-year deal and void year 3. I mean, that's the thing that was kind of manifested through the pandemic year and void years and how that started to get manipulated. There's several ways you can pluck this bird. Just pluck it.
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of incentives in the contract.
Right, absolutely.
Whether it be how far the team gets. I think he had a huge bonus with his Rams deal, and if they won the Super Bowl, so it isn't just the individual stuff; it would be team stuff as well. So I mean, yeah, there's a lot of details that I just wonder how much interest there is outside of Dallas because I just don't get the same sense. You just don't hear the same
or they're
talk.
just not as vocal. I think the Giants are very interested.
It doesn't make sense for them.
I'm not going to
though.
say that they're changing their playing surface for Odell, but I'm not saying they're not.
And I don't know why he'd be interested in that either. I don't know. Do they get a quarterback change? Or well, different there? I just whatever.
We'll get you guys some of those.
Winning potential is not nearly the same between New York and Dallas.
Yeah.
So really, to me, if it's those 3 teams, including Buffalo, it's between Buffalo and Dallas, and then if it's between those two teams, why would you want to go where it's
just
2
don't let
feet of
just
snow?
don't let Kansas City.
You've hated this since the first time we ever brought
just
this
don't
up.
let Kansas City sweep in there. Yeah, don't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't let Kansas City
I'm also the guy
come
that
in there.
hated Tarell Owens.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't do this, guys. Don't do. We know how it ends, guys. Don't do it.
So we shouldn't be listening to you no way then. No.
We brought up.
How did it end? I was right. How did it end?
We brought
it
up,
always ends.
We brought up Odell probably a month ago, and I know you were really against it. Have you changed at all?
The number of years worries me the most, because you have potential free agents on this team here, and what kind of contract and what kind of dollars are you going to have to commit to this player? That's a concern. And by the way, you don't know the need. We've seen what it's taken from Michael Gallup as he's come back from his own ACL. We saw how it took him a while to ramp up. They had to ramp up Jason Peters. Now, granted, Jason Peters is 40 years old, but still, you just don't walk in off the street and start playing a professional football game. And the weather is getting colder, and who knows where you're going to have to be. So I'm concerned, and I just don't think I just don't feel that Odell Beckham Jr. can give you here in Dallas what he gave the Rams, because that's a different Odell Beckham Jr. And to commit significant dollars and not know what you're going to get, that's something I'm very wary of doing. But hey,
I give him a little bit of a benefit of the doubt, because you got to be an amazing athlete to get to the pro level. Basketball, whatever. But he's on that next one, even above it. Amen. And so that's one reason why I don't know that he has to get all the way back to being absolutely 100% doing Odell Giants one-handed catch Odell. Because
he came back from a torn ACL and did what he did in the Super Bowl.
I just want to be clear. I'm not expecting that Odell. I'm expecting somebody that can be your number 2, 3 receiver that helps out with CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup. And
if he's if he's a B receiver, could that help you? Yeah,
absolutely.
So you got. You guys can purchase the all-in shirts with Odell on there. You guys go sign, go get what's my name, Danucci, make a hat, all in.
No, don't do that.
I'm not gonna do that.
You guys go do all that.
But that said, all of that said, Nui, if it doesn't happen, you don't miss what you never had, and you got to figure.
Come on down, James. Come on down.
Figure out how to keep.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If it doesn't happen, I really want him to sign with the Giants, because I just want to sit back and watch.
What are you doing? Now,
I would love to watch that. You think that's going to go well? Do you think that's just going to?
No, I don't think it's going to go well, but I don't want to see him go to somebody within division. Like, you can go to Kansas City, go to Buffalo.
Yeah, at this point,
go somewhere else. I'm just saying, just go somewhere else.
If he goes to the Giants, it doesn't affect you.
Yeah,
all right. Cowboys have already swept him. They're not going to meet.
I just don't want to see him in the NFC East.
How many guys? Tony doesn't work with there. Kadarius Toney doesn't work there. Kenny Galladay doesn't work there. I mean, how many guys are you going to have to? You think Odell's just stepping in there and him and Daniel Jones, boom, 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 down the field?
No.
Now all of a sudden the Giants are winning the division. No,
just don't let him go to Kansas City. That's the team that scares me the most. Just don't let him go to Kansas City.
Welcome to the Hope Merchant edition of the Media Mash with Patrick Walker, Kevin Gray, John Machota. These three gentlemen, they'll probably be on the right side of history, and I'll be wrong, and that's okay. It's okay.
Hey,
as long as we get to see you on one Cowboys way during that parade, that's all that matters.
I just stand on the ground. I was right about Tarell Owens. It ended the way I thought it would.
The mayor of Haterville over here.
I prefer Pettyville. I think Clarence owns the mayor of Haterville. Right there.
Well, it looks like you're up for election.
Just the mayor pro tem. I'm Nui Scruggs, Media Mash. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!